So, welcome to the Karshan FS show. This is season 3, episode 1. We're doing a new season. We have pretty much nothing to say, that has been changed. Still वही बंदे वही कहानी है वही फॉर्मेट है कुछ बदला नहीं तो यार वैसे हम भी सोच रहा था कि कहाँ से शुरू करूँ तो जैसे हमारे मतलब मकसद है कि फजूल की बातें से शुरू करते हैं तो पिछले हफ्ते यार मेरे इंडस्ट्री के एक इवेंट थे तो मैंने मिला एक बंदे से तो ये एक कहानी है और एक कहावत है जो पुराना है मतलब उतना पुराना भी नहीं मतलब इस हफ्ते में नहीं हुआ है तो दोनों कहते हैं आपको क्या कहना है ये भी सुनते हैं तो एक इवेंट है पिछले हफ्ते it was in a nice place it's not a big industry that I work in so we all know each other and we were all like I see these guys in my office quite often so it was nice to see outside it was at Qatar it was in the middle of the day it was like a breakfast networking event as well so काफ़ी लोग होते हैं some people come from Dubai it's not very like there were 40 people and I'm pretty sure I knew like 25 of them so it was nice I ran into a few people and a few old friends but during that event I did meet a guy who frankly I feel like normally I feel like if I want to I can talk anybody under the table कि हम ख़त्म नहीं होते हमारे कंटेंट मगर ये बंदा यार he doesn't shut up like he's not annoying he just has so much to say I feel like कि ये बंदे का कोई सुनते ही नहीं but काफ़ी बड़े बंदे वैसे नहीं मगर like he's got like a decent position and this is also weird कि जो भी मैंने वहाँ मिला था कि मैं भी यार काफ़ी उस तरह की बंदा हूँ कि वैसे एक नेटवर्किंग इवेंट में ये तो लाजिम है कि आप आपकी बिजनेस कार्ड तो लेके चलते हैं मगर मैं नहीं मानता भाई so everybody I met gave me their business card if I didn't already have their contact and they kept asking me for one and I just said just you take my number or something like that because like मुझे पता नहीं I always feel like I don't really like giving people my business card it's not like they don't have my contact मेरी number हर बंदे के पास होता है but I never feel like introducing myself if you know me right I always tell them just text me I'll text you back तो बड़ी बुरी बात है मगर ऐसे ही होते हैं नॉर्मली तो इस बंदे से मिला बंदे तो काफ़ी आउटस्पोकन है काफ़ी नॉलेजेबल है और ही नीडेड अ फ्यू थिंग्स फ्रॉम मी तो इवेंट शुरू हुए 10 बजे मैं पहुँचे 10:30 और 12 बजे तक थे यहाँ एंड द इवेंट गॉट ओवर most people left उसकी तो काम होता है मगर मैं था और 3 और बंदे थे और उसमें एक बंदा तो ऑर्गेनाइज़र है तो वो जब आपको याद है कि जब पार्टी ख़त्म होते है कि हमेशा वो बंदे होते जो घर नहीं जाते हैं लाइक यू हैव टू सेंड देम होम भाई जाओ मुझे सोना है ऐसे बंदे हमेशा होते हैं तो हम 3 वो बंदे थे हमारे यार ख़त्म ही नहीं हो रहे हमारी बातें कि like they had like croissants they had coffee and सब ख़त्म हो गई like they were all gone away service stuff like gone on break there's nobody there वैसे उसके बाद कोई इवेंट्स नहीं ऐसे कुछ था नहीं तो it was fine but we were there like 12:30 1 o'clock 1 hour after we were still there and the host it's very kind man he goes listen I'm traveling back today so I've got to leave and ये बंदे भी यार क्यूज नहीं पड़ते कि वो जाते ही नहीं तो at the end we like went outside and outside we were stood for like another half hour and this dude is still talking right तो यार वैसे उसने मैंने business card तो दी नहीं तो he's like I'll connect with you on LinkedIn and he looked up my name and we're already connected ये भी काफ़ी अक्सर हुआ भाई कि मैं तो हर जगह अपने ताल्लुक़ बन के रखा है कि मुझे मिलने से ही याद आते कि मुझसे पहले भी मुलाकात हुआ है but so during that conversation at some point he mentioned he works for like हुकूमत के लिए काम करते बंदा तो he can't really switch jobs that way. So he did get an offer, he said, you know, and he said it was quite interesting because the client has money to burn, right? And he said the person, and this is in the GCC, so the person who's in charge of this is like setting up a company and things like that, and he signed a check for $100 billion, right? A couple of weeks ago. हाँ हाँ, और मैंने उनसे ये कहा कि भाई and I've read this कि you can't have 9 figures on a check, you know, कि most banks can't process it. Like you have to keep your checks up to I think 99 million. Above that, it's just like the system कि प्रोसेस नहीं होता है. यू हैव टू स्प्लिट इट अप इनटू डिफरेंट चेक्स. बट यार मैं तो मानता हूँ कि जिस बंदे ने ये चेक लिखा वो तो कुछ भी कर सकता है. इफ़ यू हैव $100 billion, you know, who cares. तो वाकई सच है. और ही सेड, you know, there are always these recruitment agencies who reach out, and he said they reached out to him and he said, you know, I can't really leave the job I'm at. But skip to yesterday, Friday, right? I'm at home, सिर्फ chill कर रहा था, and I get a message on LinkedIn, and it's this guy from British recruiting agency, and he says, listen, I'm sorry about contacting you, you know, unsolicitedly, yeah. And I says, fine, you know, like, ये कौन सी बात है? You're messaging me, it's fine. So he says, you know, there's this job opportunity and there are like 2 job descriptions that you might be interested in. So he says, you know, the way he said it is exactly the way that guy said it. Like, it's super secretive, it's, you know, it's really technical, it's the client's got money to burn. This guy said the same thing. So I told him, listen, I've heard of it. And it's a small industry, we all know, like, what's happening. So I told him I've heard of it, and he asked me, like, have you signed an NDA? And I'm like, no. So he said, listen, I'll send you over an NDA, and if you can send that back, we can talk about this. So he did. और जुमे थे कल, तो मैं जुमा पढ़ने के लिए जा रहा था, and this was like, he called me right when I was on the way there. So normally it takes 15 minutes, so I talked to him then. एंड बाय द वे, लाइक, मुझे याद ही नहीं कि मैंने कितने NDA साइन किए भाई, कि आई डोंट इवन नो व्हाट आई एम नॉट सपोज्ड टू टॉक अबाउट. या तो शायद 3000 NDA साइन करी. कि इस इंडस्ट्री में यार सब बंदे इतने सीक्रेटिव रहते, और फजूल की बात है कि, यू नो, इट्स नॉट लाइक आई एक्चुअली नो एनीथिंग दैट्स सेंसिटिव अबाउट दिस, बट we talked about it, and he asked me a bunch of questions and told me a few things. एंड आजकल यार मेरे ये भी बुरे हालात है कि आई एम सो टायर्ड ऑफ, यू नो, रिक्रूटर्स रीचिंग आउट, कि आई एम ऑलवेज एट माई वर्स्ट बिहेवियर. कि मेरे एक दोस्त था जो वैसे अब भी है, कि जो आयरिश बंदा है, he taught me, you know, how to be a knob, basically. So he told me the first thing that he does when a recruiter reaches out is says, I need this much after tax. राइट. तो मैं भी ये करता हूँ कि आई डोंट केयर व्हाट यू हैव टू से, कि जो भी आपको पूछना है, मैं तो यार कामयाब बंदा हूँ, तू कौन सा मुझे जज करेगा. आई कीप टेलिंग देम, यू नो, हमेशा बड़े बुरे, मतलब जैसे ये जो लड़की होते हैं ना जिनको शादी नहीं करने, और उनके जब रिश्ते आते हैं, दे आर ऑलवेज लाइक, यू नो, जस्ट बीइंग हॉरिबल इन जनरल. तो हमारे वैसे हरकत है. तो he did call me and he said, I told him, listen, I don't waste my time. If you're ready to pay this much, I'll talk to you. And हमेशा मेरी ये बुरी आदत है कि I keep giving them stupid numbers, you know. So I'm always trying to see how much I can get away with. And usually they'll get back to you, you know, they always have a budget and things, but like, I just like to mess around. Like, I want to see what number will make him hang up, you know. तो कल तो फ्राइडे थे, तो मैं पूरे फारिग था भाई. I told him, like, it depends, like, normally if, you know, they're calling me from the UK, I like to go somewhere between 150 to 200 pounds a year. And yeah, like yesterday, I think they're based out of the US. So I told him $300,000 in a year. Yeah. Yeah. and he's like what is that based on, right? And I say it's based on what I make, and I know your clients is money to burn. I don't care. And he's like, ठीक है मैं बात करता हूँ. And I'm like, यार ये बंदा फिर भी, like, I don't know why he didn't just hang up. Like at that point, you've got to be kidding me, yeah. तो वो mind ही नहीं की भाई. तो after that, he told me, can you send me your CV, right? And I did. कि बंदा तो वैसे ही जानते हैं कि सब वैसे मेरी LinkedIn पर है, but like he wanted my CV. So he looks at my CV and he goes, God damn it, I didn't know you're this young. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, and he's like he got personal for a while. He's like, how have you come this far in this much time? And I'm like, यार छोटे industry है यार, उतने भी लोग नहीं होते. If you want to, you can, climb your way. I had to explain to him what I've done in my entire life. और मुझे भी यार, मैं तो पहले माना था कि there is some reason behind this, मगर ये सोचने के बाद मुझे भी समझ नहीं आया कि हो क्या रहा है भाई. Like बात तो है बंदे के बात में, but so he gave me a stupid number, and it was a Friday, so he's like, it's Friday, it's maybe today evening, and this was afternoon here, so he's like, maybe American time they'll get back to you. And वैसे मैं फारिग था, तो मैंने कहा हाँ जो भी आपकी मर्जी. तो they asked me a bunch of questions, and nothing technical, like would you mind relocating? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And these people have these horrible हरकतें भाई. मैंने NDA भी sign की. They're not specify where they want to relocate to. Like I just told them I'm not going to Kazakhstan, and they're like, no, but we can't tell you where you're going. Like, it depends, you can't just ask me if I want to relocate. Like depends on what you're talking about. But यार पूरे पता नहीं यार, और ये अब भी चल रहा है, मगर वही था वो जो बंदे ने मेंशन की थी. एंड इट्स काइंड ऑफ इंटरेस्टिंग, बट एट द सेम टाइम फजूल की बात है कि यार मतलब मैं जितना भी यार, जो हम चाहते नहीं ना काफ़ी आता है भाई, और जो चाहते हैं वो आते ही नहीं. और मैं नाराज़ हूँ इस बात से कि जो खुदा से मांगा है वो तो मिलते ही नहीं, जो खुदा से मांगा ही नहीं वो तो बेशुमार मिल रहा है. और यार एक और बंदा था, ये कहावत है कि एक और बंदा था कि थर्सडे मुझे मैसेज की थी कि वी हैव अ रिमोट रोल, would you be interested? And all he said was we're offering I think he said we're offering 90 euros an hour, right? So and that's decent, yeah. And I told him the same thing, जो भी है, like I like to just mess with numbers, so I gave him double. Like give me 200. And weekend है तो वो बंदे लौटने आए. But उस बात से ना मेरे एक कहावत है कि like I don't generally tend to, like it's not a thing here, how much you make an hour, but like most people know कि एक बंदा है जो मेरे बड़े अच्छे दोस्त है, और मेरे जो प्रोफेशनल वाले दोस्त है हमेशा मुझसे मिनिमम 10 साल बड़े हैं. एंड आई डोंट नो वाई, मेरे उम्र की कोई दोस्त नहीं है जो प्रोफेशनल है. तो बंदा तो पेशावर से पश्तो कहता है, तो हम अक्सर वैसे फ़ौज में काम करते हैं. सो आई यूजुअली मीट हिम इन द फैक्ट्री, राइट? देयर्स अ फ्यू फैक्ट्रीज आई वर्कड, ही इज़ लाइक द क्लाइंट्स. तो जब हमारे स्विच गियर की काम आते हैं तो ही इज़ द वन हु कम्स टू इंस्पेक्ट, और वहाँ मैं होता है, वो होता है, और जो फैक्ट्री के बंदे हैं वो होता है. तो और सिर्फ मैंने होते, लाइक देयर आर द पीपल हु वांट अप्रूवल्स फ्रॉम हिम. तो सुबह आते थर्सडे, एंड लाइक ही विल ऑलवेज कीप मी फॉर लास्ट, कि हम अक्सर अच्छे दोस्त हैं तो हमारे फजूल की बातें काफ़ी चलता है. एंड ही ऑलवेज टेल्स मी डोंट वरी, आई विल अप्रूव व्हाटएवर यू वांट. और वाकई सच है यार कि 10 बंदे खड़े हो जाते, एक कंपनी से कभी कभी 10 बंदे आते और उसको एक भी अप्रूवल नहीं मिलता है. मेरे तो में ही आते भाई, और मैं कुछ कहते भी नहीं. ये जो भी मतलब जो भी उनकी मसले है ना, मैं तो मानता हूँ, मैं अगर वो कहते यार ये गलत है, मैं भी कहेंगे कि यार सही है, गलत है, आप रिजेक्ट कर लो, मगर आखिर वो अप्रूव ही कर देंगे. तो पता है नहीं भाई, मतलब मेरे ये चुतिया पे मुझे पता ही नहीं कैसे चल रहा है कि बस आखिर तक वो मुझे रखता है और हम वहाँ चाय पी कर. एंड बाय द वे, लाइक ये भी अक्सर काफ़ी अजीब है कि आई एम देयर एनीवे, है. तो मैं उसके साथ खड़ा हूँ और जो भी बाकी बंदों की स्विच केयर है वो मुझसे ही पूछते हैं कि यार क्या करूँ, अप्रूव करूँ, आपके कोई कमेंट्स है ना। हम लाइक यार क्लाइंट तो आप है, मैं तो कौन से इनको क्लाइंट मतलब अप्रूवल देने वाले के बंदे हो। मगर यार बड़ी अजीब बात है। और हम तो बात करते हैं उर्दू में, मगर जब इनकी फ़ोन आते हैं ना तो पश्तो में चले जाते हैं। और यार उसकी पश्तो मुझे पता ही नहीं चलता कि क्या कह रहा है। कि कभी कभी मुझे तो समझ आता है, मगर इसका यार इतने तेज़ है कि मुझे समझ ही नहीं आता है। और ये वो बंदा है जिसकी ख़ानदान में इतने मसले चलते होते हैं, सिर्फ घर का फ़ोन आता है इन्हें कि बच्चे पढ़ाई नहीं कर रहे, लाइक गाड़ी चल नहीं रहे तो ये सब मुझे भी सुनने पड़ते हैं और मुझे समझ नहीं आते। मगर एक दिन हमारे, और बंदे तो काफ़ी अच्छे बंदे हैं कि ही इज़ वेरी गुड एट हार्ट, बट एक दिन क्या हुआ कि वैसे जो बंदे ये पैनल्स या स्विच गेयर बिल्ड करते हैं वो वहाँ खड़ा है, कि फैक्ट्री की बंदा वहाँ ही खड़ा है। और जो इलेक्ट्रिशियंस होता है लाइक उसकी घंटे का 15 रियाल्स होता है, लाइक दैट्स स्टैंडर्ड इन दोहा, यू गेट पेड 15 रियाल्स एन आवर। तो एक दिन एक बंदे ने लाइक ही वाज नॉट हैप्पी विथ व्हाट यू सेइंग एंड ही वाज लाइक ये गलत है, वो गलत है, ये कौन सी बेवकूफ़ इस पैनल पर काम की है, राइट। एंड ये बंदा तो वही खड़ा था एंड ही इज़ लाइक जनाब ऐसे नहीं, एंड ही स्टार्ट्स टॉकिंग बैक टू हिम। और ये वो बंदा है लाइक काम की बंदा है, और ये बंदे ने ये सब सुना सही। और मैं वहाँ खड़ा था और काफ़ी सीरियस मतलब माहौल था। और इसने ना कुछ नहीं कहा, सिर्फ उसको नज़र आया और ये कहा कि यार तुम ना मुझसे बात नहीं करो, तेरी रंडी की औकात है। एंड आई एम लाइक डूड व्हाट, एंड आई लॉस्ट इट। लाइक व्हाट ही मेंट इज तेरी, तू जो कमाते हैं वो रंडिया कमाते हैं, तो तू मुझसे बात नहीं कर, तेरी औकात याद रख। एंड आई एम लाइक ही इज़ वन ऑफ द काइंडेस्ट मैन ऑफ मेट, बट लाइक कभी कभी अजीब सी बेइज्जती होते हैं। और उसकी बाद मैं अक्सर मतलब आयरॉनिकली ये कहता हूँ कि या मतलब कभी कभी ये ज़रूरत होता है कि लोगों को अपनी औकात याद दिलवाना है। तो मैं भी काफ़ी कहता हूँ आजकल कि तेरी रंडी की औकात है, मगर उतना ही है भाई, आप तो कह लो, सिर्फ फजूल की बात है।
Crazy, यार। I mean, this is like, वो बंदा कहाँ से है? I mean, he's from Peshawar.
He's from Peshawar, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's like I've heard of Peshawar as well in terms of like, it's big on hospitality.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also big on like aggression and like,
पिस्तौल निकलता है।
Oh, bro, AK-47. I mean, anytime you watch like Pakistani Pashtuns on like any Pakistani TV, like in the media, they're always represented as like, having like Kalashnikovs, having AK-47s. Yeah, man, they're like, it's weird how they're known for two completely opposite things, being like super hospitable on the one hand, but also being like martial on the other,
Yeah, it's like Southern hospitality, isn't it? It's very similar.
Yeah, man, like, there's, you'll see so many of, like, military folk come from, like, the South, like, a lot of the dudes who went to, like, Iraq, Afghanistan, all of these places, like,
proper rednecks.
Even in, rednecks, even in Inglourious Bastards, you probably remember Brad Pitt, like, playing.
Yeah.
With the really bad Southern accent, killing Nazis.
It was so bad that it was good.
It was so over the top that you would think it's just like some next level Southern guy,
Yeah.
Bro, I've never heard anybody say Nazis in
Yeah.
their life.
Oh, dude, you're so right. Like, I've not heard it as well. That was so... मगर हम मानते हैं कि ऐसे भी लोग हो सकते हैं भाई. Like, that's how good Brad Pitt is.
Oh, bro, कसम से, it was like... but yeah, a lot of them are from the South, man. Like, they're just big on like their guns as well. But yeah, you're right. At the same time, Southern hospitality is a big thing. Like they're known for being like very warm and like welcoming, and like really extend courtesy to everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean,
Shower.
I see something similar with Canadians where they're two polar opposites that you see here, where on the one hand, they're known for like politeness and courtesy and just being like, kind to strangers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're the most popular sport here is
Ice
hockey.
hockey, yeah, and they're always fighting.
It's like the most violent sport, where fighting is just part of the game, dude. Like,
Dude, I love
like
the
even
throw
the referee.
downs. Yeah, like I love it. When they throw their gloves down, like I like it as a symbol. Like it's on.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just it's crazy that it's the most popular sport in a country known for its politeness.
True. And there's this movie called Goon with Sean William Scott, who's from American Pie, Stifler, and it's about ice hockey, and he's like an enforcer, and it's like really a take on the mental well-being of guys who play ice hockey, and guys who have like a tough guy personality, but he's really good.
Man, I was just going to say enforcer. It's crazy you said that because
Yeah.
one of my good friends was an enforcer on like on a hockey team. Like he used to play. It was like college hockey. In fact, like he used to play for like the school that he went to.
Nice.
So it was like pretty legit, and he didn't tell me that he was the enforcer. He just told me he played hockey, and like we were friends on Facebook too. So I saw like pictures of him from games, and with his team and everything.
Yeah.
And it looked very legit, like it was like college level, which is huge, it's like it's so competitive in like North America, like any sport, to play it at a college level is so competitive.
True.
Sometimes, man, like college basketball is like will attract a bigger following than like an NBA game,
Yeah, March Madness especially is crazy.
Yeah, 100%, man. So like this guy, man, I found out later on that he was the enforcer. Like we've been friends for a long time, and man, he's like the most polite and like courteous guy you'll meet. Like one of the first times we even talked, dude, it was because we lived on the same floor, and we had a common room for like where you could do your dishes and stuff there. There was like a sink and everything. And so I was just, he just finished doing his dish and then I was doing mine.
Right.
And, I remember I started doing them and he comes back. He'd left already, but he comes back and he was like, hey man, sorry if I left the tap on like hot, and then like, and if you like maybe burnt your hand, like I was like, no, man, I just turned it to cold and I'm okay. Like,
I'm not an
like
idiot. Yeah.
He just felt the need to like apologize for that, even and he came back to say that.
So
and
sweet,
this guy was a fucking enforcer on a team, dude.
I kind of like I'm surprised, but at the same time I understand कि यार जो बंदे ऐसे होते हैं कि उसकी एक personality होता है where they're known for being harsh, वो हमेशा यार काफी अच्छे बंदे निकलते हैं. They're very sensitive, to be honest, more often than not.
That's really interesting, man. I mean, you'd think like with some dudes they're just straight dicks, like
जैसे हम
they ऐसे बंदे who have like just no redeeming qualities, But then I don't know, man. These dudes, I think it's also like they're able to separate themselves from what they do. Like sport is like they're a different person on the field and a different person outside of the field.
Yeah.
It's like how people can separate their personal lives from their professional lives.
Yeah.
I think it's something similar for them. They have like an on-stage persona and like an off-stage persona, and so. And the two are never really like, rarely ever is there like a crossover where, they go into enforcer mode when they're like in a mall, like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They're able to like compartmentalize those two personas,
हाँ यार, और ये अक्सर it's quite important as well. ये मैं मानता हूँ, like it's definitely important that you do that.
No doubt, man. I mean, think of actors, right? It's like the things they do on camera. Like that's not them in real life, you know. But it's still something they've done. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just a lot of dirt, man. Like, I mean, fucking. If you think of Taxi Driver, like, there's that guy, right? What's his name? Michael Kettle? What's Keto?
Yeah, I think Michael Keto, yeah.
Or like Harvey Keitel, maybe.
Harvey Keitel, yeah, sorry, we actually found this name the last time. Yeah, Harvey Keitel, yeah. Keitel.
That's right. That's it. Mm-hmm. So he's like a pimp, right? And he's like running like a you know, like sex trafficking ring. Like he's like a trafficker, you know? And like this is like a role he plays. Like when he's on stage, he's playing that role. You know, he becomes that guy to be able to play this role. You know, like Heath Ledger in like as the Joker. Very similar, right? Like, you know, just really got into the role. Like really became the guy that he was playing. But it's for the purpose of making a movie, right? And then when you come out when the movie's done, like, and you go back to your normal life, like, that's not the guy you're going to be in real life, you know?
True. But, यार मैं कभी-कभी सोचता हूँ कि if I could date an actress or not, and I don't know, like, जो विराट करता है, I don't know if I could do it, you know, कि आसान नहीं है भाई, कि, you know, मैं काफ़ी सोचता हूँ, the conclusion I keep coming to is I would need to completely like blindside a certain aspects of the things I hear and the things I read to be able to be in a relationship with an actress, you know, like it wouldn't be easy.
Definitely, man, definitely. I mean, I think one of the reasons marriages involving actors are able to work, it's because they're both actors, you know? So it's kind of like they're able to understand, like, hey, this is just something we do as a profession. Like, you know, we're able to separate that from our personal lives. And often that's the case, right? Like both both people in the couple are like actors, you know? That's very often the case. But yeah, often it's not. Like in Cody's case, you know, it's like it's not the case where he's like not an actor, you know, and but she is. And even Shah Rukh Khan, man, it's the same. Like his wife is not an actor. Like she produces movies, but she's not an actress, right? Whereas he is like the major actor in India, and he's probably done a movie with like every actress, you know, and like people will even talk about him and Kajol to this day, you know, where like there was something unfinished there, or like we could really sense the chemistry between them, you know. And that must be hard for her, you know, like the wife to have to, like, you know, it requires a level of like emotional maturity that I think most people certainly wouldn't have, you know.
I agree, and it would be honestly quite hard. Like I know it's easy to say कि अगर मैं होते और मैं अगर बंदे को जानते तो आसान होते, but it really isn't, man. Like काफी to be able to, you know, close out a part of yourself and not think about things is very hard. And मुझे पता नहीं भाई कि like the Kajol thing is absolute bullshit. Like वैसे उतना भी लायक नहीं है बंदी, जो छोटी उम्र में हमें लगता था कि वो खूबसूरत था, उतना भी नहीं, तो ज़्यादा मसले नहीं होंगे वो करने में, मगर यार बाकियों की मुझे पता नहीं कि like if you take विराट for example, विराट भी काफ़ी नालायक काम की है जो एड्स में होता है, उसकी पुराने ज़माने के जो इंटरव्यूज अगर देखा तो बंदे काफ़ी you know नालायक ही था भाई, बगैरत ही था, but you know it's not easy to let go of some things. and it's hard to be, even after all these years, be able to be like you said, it takes a lot of maturity to say, this is that person in the workplace, and ये मुझे affect नहीं करेंगे, कि वो भी आसान नहीं.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Because, especially when you see like on-scene romance, right? It's
हाँ,
like
exactly. वहाँ मसला आ जाता है भाई.
Because, yeah, I mean, imagine, bro, like,
Mm-hmm.
because Shah Rukh Khan's an actor, right? And it's like, man, being an actor is what he's known for, right?
Huh.
So, like, that's an art form, obviously, acting and making movies. And his wife's a producer and
Yeah.
often produces the movies that he acts in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's probably at the set when he's like, doing all these scenes with like actresses,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like there, just like witnessing this thing in real time, So like, it's not even like she's like able to close that part out. Like, it's like, yeah, it's happening elsewhere, and it's like, not only is she watching his movies, she's the one producing them,
Mm-hmm.
So I bet that's challenging, but like, yeah, I guess they're just, as people in the industry, they understand and like, are able to separate those two things really well. And they're not really affected by people's gossip because you have to have very thick skin to be in a public personality, any kind of public personality.
Yeah.
So if people talk about things like that, like how Shah Rukh Khan and Juhi Chawla, had like chemistry, or how he and Kajol had chemistry, and how they did so many movies together that, they really should have ended up together. People talk about all of these things, right? And then like to be the man's wife, you have to be able to ignore all of those kind of like malicious gossip and like slander and, these just like haters, who are like just can't don't like to see others happy.
हाँ यार, और ये अक्सर काफ़ी like I'm telling you कि मैं जब इतनी उम्र का नहीं था तो मैंने सोचा था कि ये शायद हो सकता है मुझसे, बट यार जो मेंटल हेल्थ पर असर पड़ता है ना कि वो आसान नहीं है भाई. like even if you know this person, they're the love of your life, right? It still plays on your mind. Ki I've seen even married couples, for like years have issues between them because of things they've heard and can't really let go of. Like, it might not be true, but यार एक बार वो जो असर होता है ना, फिर उसके बाद वो भूल जाने काफ़ी मसले होते हैं. तो I've seen that with like normal people, and if you can imagine like the paparazzi and the press, and especially the kind of yellow, what do you call it, tabloids, tabloids messing with you, that's really hard to like ज़रूर असर होता है कि जो सोच में कि that it would, like, I definitely appreciate how much effort it takes for a couple. वैसे उसकी दूसरी आज नहीं, पिछले हफ्ते या 2 हफ्ते पहले दूसरे बेटा हुआ था. So it's really like I would like to say that it would probably take twice as much effort for them to be together as it would for a normal person, for a normal couple.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. No doubt about that. Just being in the public space, public eye all the time, and knowing that there's people out there like actively trying to like bring you down. Yeah, man, that can't be easy. I remember even like there was this one tennis player, right, and she was stabbed by like one of her fans.
Who was that?
She was pretty big, man, back in the day. It was like Martina. They were married.
Martina Herzinagova or something like that.
It was one of them. Because there were so many of them.
Yeah.
It was one of the Martinas. But yeah, she, man. I think one of her fans was like a crazy like stalker where he just became obsessed with her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you know the movie Does, right? Like
Yeah.
Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he becomes obsessed with her, right? And it was like one of those cases where he became infatuated with her and had never even met her, like had only ever seen her on TV. But there's some, we talked about this, Fred, there's some really like sick fucks out there, like some people who are really messed in the head.
Yeah.
So he got really obsessed with her, and then I think, you know, like at a game, like he went in to like go for a hug and then like stabbed her. You know, yeah, he just felt like, you know, like if he can't have her, then like he's just, you know, that's the only thing left to do.
काफ़ी अजीब बात है यार कि ये जो ऑब्सेस लोग होता है लाइक, और ये यार नॉर्मल ज़िंदगी में भी होता है कि आपकी भाभी ने भी एक या दो स्टॉकर की बात तो की थी, नॉर्मली होता है यार कि मुझे भी हुआ है यार, कहानी सुनना है तो बता दूंगी. there's a reason that I told your भाभी this story and there's a reason that I don't smile anymore कि वैसे काफ़ी वजूहत है, मगर there's a crazy stalker story if you're like in the mood to listen to it, but
Sure, dude, sure.
तो यार ये जो यूनिवर्सिटी की ज़माने थे तो हमारे वहाँ इवेंट्स होते थे और लाइक काफ़ी मशहूर थे हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी की इवेंट्स, और लोग काफ़ी दूर से आते थे अटेंड करने. And I think in my first year I did work for it, but like every year you kind of move up the ladder, you know. So like first year you're just an executive, the second year you're senior executive, third year you're one of the managers, fourth year you're one of the conveners, right? So तरक्की होते जाता है हमारे वहाँ, और not every, it's a lot of work and, you know, like काफ़ी sleepless nights होता है, ये सब होता है. मगर हम तो वहाँ पढ़ने नहीं गए थे तो काफ़ी फारिग थे. So in that time I did most of the events, like, and the big events like the footfall, I think the years that we were in charge were about 30 to 40,000, तो काफ़ी लोग आते हैं. And I was in charge of infrastructure and public relations and security, right? तो सिक्योरिटी तो आसान होता है कि, you know, हम तो वैसे ही बाउंसर था उस ज़माने में. लाइक मेरी जो हम यार सिक्योरिटी नहीं, हम हुक्म था, you know. If I like you, you're going in, right? उसके अलावा जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर होता है वो यार जो मतलब काफ़ी हेजिंग की सीन चलता था मेरे वहाँ यूनिवर्सिटी में कि I've like really gotten hazed the shit out of. Like there's 1,000 people and in our year I'm one of the 4 people who are, you know, hazed the most. कि एक तो काफ़ी नखरे था, दूसरे बात कि काफ़ी अलग लगता था, तीसरे बात ये कि हम, you know, like लायक थे काफ़ी hazing करने के लिए. तो काफ़ी होता था, and because of that, like I was somebody that all the seniors knew and all of that. So infrastructure की यार ये काम होते हैं कि, you know, it's mostly like manpower management कि 1,000 लोग होते हैं first year में और उनसे सब काम करवाते हैं. Like there's no outside people from outside, so, you know, if you need to move 1,000 desks, for example, or if you need to set up or clean an entire auditorium, बाहर से लोग नहीं बुलाते हैं, बंदे से काम करवाता है कि मुलाजिम है. So पहले साल हम मुलाजिम थे, दूसरे साल हमारे 1,000 मुलाजिम थे. तो that was what that aspect was. And the third one's public relations. Yeah, and public relations at that point in time was social media, and during, like, we did in-person publicity as well. Like we did go to a few universities, we had a few events, like small events there, and we'd invite them to attend the event, right? So क्या हुआ कि हमारे 3 दिन की इवेंट है, मगर जो पहले दिन है वो कोई नहीं आता है कि, you know, it's just like the inauguration. तो नॉर्मली हम वो रात पूरे सब काम ख़त्म करते हैं कि जो हॉस्पिटैलिटी की काम होता है, you know, like people will come, you have to prepare places for them to stay and things like that. वो normally वो पहले इवेंट की दिन की रात होता है सॉरी. तो वो काम शुरू हुए थे मगर ख़त्म नहीं हुए. तो वो पहले दिन 5 बजे एक टीम आया था जो काफ़ी दूर से आया था, and they came for the events and they were at the registration, they were right outside, you know, like in the middle of the university. तो किसी ने मुझे बुलवाए, और वैसे मेरे उस ज़माने में जो फ़ोन नंबर था ना, it was on the posters, it was on the walls, like हर बंदे के पास था, you know. तो they called me, and it's about a group of 20-30 people. So they're like, you know, we came from really far away, and they're telling us, you know, it's not ready yet. So I told them, listen, we're still working on it. And I told them, you know, why don't you go have a look at the city and come back around 9 o'clock and we'll have everything ready for you, right? And I was talking to them, और मेरे एक दोस्त आ गई, and because I'm part of, you know, like जो मुलाजिम के साथ हम था वो, you know, काफ़ी हार्श होता है, you know, we treat them like slaves. मुलाजिम ही था. तो मेरे एक दोस्त आ गए, and he's like, dude, you know, these people are not your slaves, like they're guests from outside. And I understood what he meant. Like मैं उस तरह से उनसे बात कर रहे थे कि मैं जो हमारे बंदों से बात करते थे. So I realized what I was doing, कि मैं, you know, you're supposed to be hospitable to people from outside, and I wasn't in that zone yet. So I listened to him, and it was quite like just friendly advice, you know. So I smiled, and so I gave these guys my number. There were a few girls as well, but I didn't notice any faces there. And I said, call me if you come back and it's not ready, but it should be, right? तो नंबर दे दी, और वो मुझे भुलाया नहीं. Like by the time they came back, everything was all right. Now after that, the event went on and everything happened. And after the event, there's normally like a lull, you know, like सबकी बात, there's like everything, after everything is done, you have a sense of purposelessness. Purpose, I think I got that right. So मुझे एक नंबर से टेक्स्ट आने शुरू हुए, and it was pretty weird. So I asked, you know, who is this? And she's like, we've met. And I'm like, कब मिला था? And she's like, guess. And I'm like, मैं कौन सी guess करूँ भाई? तो I don't like playing these stupid games कि you know, normally मैं होता है वो बंदा कि I'm the one interested. अगर मैं इंटरेस्टेड नहीं हूँ भाई, I'm not fun to be around, so I'm like नहीं करूँगा. And but she did keep coming back, and I couldn't figure out who this was. Like और ये भी मतलब अजीब नहीं है, there's a lot of people who know me but I don't really know, कि मैं सिर्फ, you know, सिर्फ एक्टिंग करता हूँ कि मैं उसको याद करता है. But I genuinely had no idea who this, and I don't remember if Truecaller and all that was around back then. This was like 2014. तो मैं जानना भी काफ़ी मसला था यार. तो she kept talking to me, and she kept telling me things that are going on in her life. And at some point she said, you know, you have a really nice smile. And I'm like, यार तू कौन है? कि उस ज़माने में भी मैं ज़्यादा हंसते मुस्कराते नहीं था भाई, कि you know me, you know, like not with known people. कि काफ़ी वो cold looks देता है, you know, like you can generally, if you look at me, I look like I want to bite your head off. I've said this before. काफ़ी intimidating होता है, which is why normally women don't approach me, और मैं शुक्र अदा करता हूँ कि they don't approach me. But some get through, you know, the nets, the cracks. So she kept texting me, and when she said this, you know, you have a nice smile, I said, no, where have you seen me smile? And she's like, याद है वो दिन? And I'm like, हाँ याद है. And that's when I kind of figured out कि you know, it's probably from this group of people. And then I knew this for a fact कि उसमें अगर एक खूबसूरत बंदी होते तो मैं उनको याद करता. तो मुझे ज़रूर पता था कि ये कोई नालायक बंदी था, ठीक सही. तो मैंने उसको माना ही नहीं. And after a while what happened was आई वाज इन दिस इज़ ऑल्सो काफ़ी अजीब कि मैं क्लास में था और कोई मुझे बुलाने आ गई और मुझे ये हाई स्कूल मिडिल स्कूल वाला ट्रॉमा याद आ गई. Whenever somebody comes to call me from class, I'm always like, what am I in trouble for? But but then somebody came to call me and she's like, there's a visitor for you, and I'm like, what the, like, nobody visits me, like मेरी खुद की वालिदे नहीं आए भाई, तू कौन सी बात कर रहा है? And she's like, I asked her, who is it? And she's like, I don't know, it's a girl. And I'm like, and if she was good looking, she would say it in a different way. She's like, "Kaun hai yaar wo?" So I went to see who it was, and it was just really weird, like weird meeting. And she's like, "Pehchana kaun?" And I'm like, "No." Like she's like, "Oh, stop playing games." And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is what's that's when I figured it out कि ये बंदी इतने obsessed, यार उसकी वैसे यूनिवर्सिटी काफ़ी दूर है हाँ? और उसने शायद 3 हफ्ते बाद मिलने आए थे, मुझे मिलने आए थे. एंड लाइक it was so weird, but like she asked me like आप मसरूफ़ है? और मैंने कहा हाँ यार मुझे काफ़ी क्लासेस अटेंड करनी है. और मैंने अपनी ज़िंदगी में यार उतने मुझे क्लास अटेंड करने की कभी भी चाहत नहीं था कि अगर हमारे जो रूम में कुछ चल रहे होते कि there's a game of like carom going on, that is more interesting to me than going to class, मगर उस लम्हे में मुझे क्लास ही बेहतर लगा था भाई. एंड she didn't believe me, but मैं तो गया. And like I didn't want to be mean, to be honest, कि it's not like मुझे समझ आता है कि आपको ये मोहब्बत हो, like मुझे समझ ही नहीं आते भाई, मैं तो काफ़ी नालायक हूँ. तू कौन तू क्यों like मुझे ही मैं भी आपकी मोहब्बत के खिलाफ हूँ, like कोई अच्छा चुन लो. मगर मैंने तो उसे लगा देंगे with the time of day, and I thought that would be it, but she did keep texting me, तो I did block her. और यार उस ज़माने में मैं ऐसे जो आजकल ब्लॉक करते हैं वैसे ब्लॉक नहीं करते. आज ना लड़की की हाय आई तो ब्लॉक लिस्ट पे चलते, रिप्लाई तक नहीं आता. बट उस ज़माने में हम तो काफ़ी बेवकूफ़ थे, तो तब मैंने ब्लॉक की. मुझे समझ आया कि यार लड़की तो काफ़ी if I keep this going, like there's no way for me to explain to her that I'm not interested if she's not reading the cues. And she kept texting me about what's happening in her real life and things like that. कभी कभी फ़ोन भी करता था और मेरे यार काफ़ी फ़ोन आते थे, मैं नॉर्मली अटेंड नहीं करता. आपको मुझे याद है उस ज़माने में कि अगर मेरे फ्रेंड्स जो फुटबॉल खेलने जा रहे थे, इफ़ दे वांटेड टू जस्ट चेक वेयर आई एम और इफ़ आई एम कमिंग एंड दे कॉल मी, आई वुडंट अटेंड. लाइक मैं अटेंड नहीं करता भाई. लाइक आई ऑलवेज केप्ट टेलिंग पीपल इफ़ यू वांट जस्ट टेक्स्ट मी. मैं एक ज़माने में फ़ोन ही नहीं उठाता था. तो आज भी उतना बेहतर नहीं, सिर्फ थोड़ी. बट so I did block her. And she actually kept turning up to the university a few times. And what I think happened, right? So I have a few friends who are female. Like था सही, आज अब नहीं. अब मेरी ज़िंदगी में कोई बंदी नहीं है, बट जो दोस्त है. तो उस ज़माने में था और उतना भी नहीं था कि काफ़ी कम था. But one of them told me what happened later on, like a few years later. She told me this girl kept showing up and she would wait at this one place. और एक दिन जो हमारे like not this girl exactly but somebody she knows told her, like she saw her turn up a few times. She knows she's not from the university. So she asked her why she keeps turning up, and she told her the whole story, right? And what this girl did, and like मैंने कभी इस लड़की से भी ये नहीं पूछा कि ये हकीकत है कि नहीं, मैं सिर्फ मानता हूँ. like I don't know how else this would have turned out, but she told her, यार आप अपने आँखें खोल दो कि एक तो बात यह है कि इस यूनिवर्सिटी में काफ़ी लड़कियाँ वैसे ही है सही, और ये बंदा सख्त सिंगल है सही. So you figure out that he's not figure out that he's not interested, he's not going, you're not the one who's going to change his life. And she kind of gave her a dressing down. उसकी दोबारा हम औकात पर लौट आई, बट औकात दिलवा दी. और यार वैसे जो पश्तो बंदा है और बलोच बंदा है औकात कहता है, and it's quite weird. उधर याद दिलवाए उसको। तो उसकी बाद यार वो आने ख़त्म की, और मुझे ये कहावत या ये कहानी याद ही नहीं है, बट मेरे ब्लॉक लिस्ट में तो अब भी बंदी पड़ा है। तो जब मैं वहाँ जाता हूँ कि याद करने की मेरे कितने मतलब दुश्मन हैं, कि तब याद आता है हाँ यार सही ऐसे एक कहानी भी होता था। मगर वो यार काफ़ी अजीब तरीके की मतलब अजीब किस्म की स्टॉकर था भाई, कि मुझे पता ही नहीं कि क्यों। मगर शी ऑल्सो told me that you have really nice teeth। और मेरी ज़िंदगी में मैं आज तक इतना इनसिक्योर नहीं फील हुआ जब उस वक्त में मुझे महसूस हुआ है भाई, कि आफ्टर दैट आई बीन वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट वेयर आई स्माइल, कि मेरी जैसे PTSD की आफ्टर इफेक्ट्स होते हैं ऐसे, कि आजकल मैं जो नकाब वाली बंदी मतलब हंसता है ना कि आई खाओ माई फेस आई स्माइल। बट काफ़ी अजीब कहानी है भाई। और जो स्टॉकर्स की पता नहीं यार, मैं समझ सकता हूँ कि आपके भाभी की स्टॉकर्स हो सकता है कि वो काफ़ी खूबसूरत है, मेरे पीछे क्यों पड़े हैं यार। मैं तो काफ़ी नालायक हूँ भाई, मुझे समझ ही नहीं आते। बट लाइक सिर्फ ये कहानी है भाई, सिर्फ सारे फजूल है। वैसे आजकल की मतलब इस सीज़न की पहले एपिसोड यार थीम ही नहीं है, सिर्फ फजूल की कहानी है, कहावत सब है।
नहीं ब्रो, ये तो बहुत ही काफी नेक्स्ट लेवल की स्टॉकर निकली ब्रो। आई मीन मुझे पहली बात तो स्टॉकर्स की साइकोलॉजी समझ नहीं आती कि वो उम्मीद क्या कर रहे होते हैं, यू नो व्हाट आर दे एक्सपेक्टिंग टू हैपन व्हेन दे लाइक टर्न अप
मगर
like someone's house or someone's college, you know, कि उसको लगता है हाँ ये मुझे देख के ये फिसल जाएगा।
मगर यार आपको पता है कि इसकी गुनहगार कौन है? ये जो फिल्म बनाते हैं ना, कि हर फिल्म में बंदा स्टॉकर है भाई। हाँ
इसके लिए
यार, जो नॉर्मल वाले लव स्टोरी होते हैं ना, जो साउथ की मूवीज होते हैं और जो नॉर्थ की काफ़ी मूवीज होते हैं, कि बंदा यार ये बंदी इंटरेस्टेड ही नहीं है, उसकी घर जाते हैं, उसके अब्बू से मिलते हैं, सब उसकी यूनिवर्सिटी जाते हैं यार। सब स्टॉकर वाले हरकत हमने इतने रोमांटिसाइज की है कि जो बंदे बाहर के फिल्म नहीं देखे ना, उसको ये महसूस होता है कि मोहब्बत में यही करना है।
कसम से यार मतलब शाहरुख खान का तो ये बड़ा पुराना रोल था ब्रो, कि जो हम रोमांटिक फिल्म भी समझते हैं, यू नो, इवन द वंस वी ग्रू अप ऑन,
सही
कुछ कुछ होता है, दिलवाले दुल्हनिया, यू नो, ऑल ऑफ दीज, कोई इसमें वाकई में सीन है यार, यू नो,
काफी अजीब,
वो दूर भाग रही है और वो उसके पीछे पीछे जाने लगता है, यू नो।
हाँ यार काफी ये मतलब जो दो बात है भाई जो हमने रोमांटिसाइज की ये मूवीज में, हमने तो मूवी नहीं बनाई, मगर हमारे जो मुल्क है वहाँ की दो चीज़, एक तो स्टॉकिंग है, दूसरे रेप से होता है यार। कि जो कंसेंट की बात होता है ना, वो यार आए ही नहीं हमारे जहन में। मगर यार आजकल भी चल रहा है ये जो एनिमल का या कबीर सिंह का, सब ऐसे ही चल रहा है भाई। और बंदे इतने इनको मानता है कि पूरे पर्सनालिटी उस पर बेस्ड है भाई।
Bro, एनिमल का क्या सीन है? I haven't watched the movie, but
मैंने भी नहीं, मगर फिर भी यही चलता है कि यू नो कंप्लीट डिसरिगार्ड फॉर अ वुमेन्स ओपिनियन एंड कंसेंट।
हाँ ब्रो, ये तो है वाकई। आई मीन मुझे मूवी का कोई आइडिया नहीं, पर कोई कुछ सीन उसके देखे थे, बहुत ही यार खराब मूवी लग रही थी मुझे भी, you know, and मैंने सुना कि even artistically it really bombed, you know, like it really didn't do well on the charts, like box office. No, sorry, not box office, like reviews.
हाँ सही
हाँ but bro यार ये तो मसला है, you know, I mean that's why, you know, that one movie and this one show as well, like आपको Pink याद होगी, the one by Amitabh, with Amitabh
and Taapsee.
Yeah, bro, like they really shed light on this, you know, and even AIB, you know, like आपको याद होगा, they made a whole video on like how stalking is so normalized and like in Bollywood, कि जैसे यार ये गाने होते हैं, you know, यार होठों के पीछे हाँ होगा, you know, something like that from Josh. If you remember that one.
यार जोश मुझे काफी याद है वो फिल्म, पता नहीं क्यों मगर काफी याद है।
ब्रो शाहरुख खान तो इसमें सबसे बड़ा गुनहगार है ब्रो.
हाँ.
जितने लौंडों ने उसको देख के सोचा है कि इफ अगर हम भी ये हरकतें करने लगे
हाँ.
तो दुनिया भी फिसल जाएगी.
सही है.
It really been like single-handedly like made like stalking a normal thing.
हाँ.
Even the Kiran role, man, like people really liked him in that movie,
हाँ यार मुझे समझ ही नहीं आता है कि क्यों मतलब लव स्टोरी इस पर बेस नहीं हो सकता है भाई.
हाँ bro, Bazigar भी, but Bazigar I understood because it was more of like a psychological, like a psychology of like a man who's just seeking revenge,
हाँ ये तो ठीक है कि मोहब्बत जब नहीं आता है ना तो हम समझ सकते हैं कि stalking क्या होता है. और when you don't like someone I kind of get it, but like when you like someone I don't know what's going on.
I know, man, it's really strange. And honestly, man, it's more common than you think. Like they like it has a lot to do with like mental illness. Honestly, like people becoming fixated on things.
हाँ obsessed होता है काफी.
Like OCD, and it's like people have these obsessions and fixations, and they just become like fixated on them, and then like can't stop thinking about it. Obsessive intrusive thoughts, like that's why, man, this is like even with a lot of extremists, like that's often the thing they look out for. Just say that there's even an intelligence unit in Australian law enforcement, like their Australian intelligence. It's called a fixated persons unit.
No way, that's cool.
Yeah, and what they look for is things like these, people's like, for example, like their browsing patterns. Let's say they have like a suspect who's showing signs of like being fixated on someone. Like that's like a warning sign, that's like from a security standpoint, like this person is capable of like, doing something scary.
Agreed. And that makes sense, but at the same time, यार एक तो बात यह है कि Australian intelligence to me is like an oxymoron, and the other thing was shit, I forgot what else I wanted to say, but जो obsessed होता है या इस तरीके की हरकतें करता है, like I always feel like there's this line जो what movies from, like why are you so obsessed with me, मुझे पता नहीं, मुझे ये सब मजाक ही लगता है. But at the same time very often I get mistaken quite often because हमें सब detail नजर आता है. And like when I point something out, people just go, why are you so obsessed with me? And I'm like, I don't care, I just notice a lot of shit. Like I'm not up all night thinking about you. Like I can just see all these things. But यार हमारे तो पहली एपिसोड तो अभी ख़त्म होने वाले हैं, तो क्या लगता है आपको इसकी मकसद? Like what do you think it should be titled? I want to a walk to remember, but like something that has to do with what we talked about.
Let's just call it Walk to Remember, because it's a walk down memory lane too,
Oh, I like this, man. So वैसे मेरी यार शायरी में ना आखिर फजूल की बात है कि I've come back to that title a few times. मैं कभी title नहीं repeat करता, but A Walk to Remember is a title that I've repeated a few times, and it's also in my poetry quite often. But I like this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, Khawateen o Hazrat, this has been, the Karshan Fest Show, Season 3, Episode 1. Completely pointless. Like, this is so far from having a point that, like, even a walk down memory lane is like a walk through multiple lanes, that all of which don't lead anywhere. But, exactly. But it's been a walk to remember, and we'll see you in the next one.